We examined viewing times for a 2-year period for academic and non-academic videos uploaded to YouTube. The data for content uploaded prior to 2016 are delineated by mode of viewing, computer views versus mobile phone views, and show, firstly, general declines in viewing times over the 2-year period, and secondly, a relative shift toward mobile phone viewing. Analyzing the data by viewing times in different regions of the world suggests that the viewing patterns identified above, shorter viewing times, and a switch towards mobile phone viewing, are robust. Alternative explanations are offered for shorter viewing times for both the academic and non-academic video content. I also had intended to discuss the implications for future production of academic video content. I'll spend a couple of minutes giving you an idea of what the data look like. These are 4 academic videos that I've uploaded, and you can see 2 of them go back beyond March of 2015, and 2 are more recent. But you can see here an academic pattern, that when there's a midterm or final exam, the video will peak, and otherwise it will trough. The blue line represents one of the more popular video topics in economic development. So the 2 more popular topics in the beginning of a course are what is called the Lewis model and the Harrod-Domar models. And you see that those are the ones that have the highest demand over time. The other 2 topics are week 8 or week 9, so there'll be less demand because students have gotten past the first midterm, and you would not get as much demand rolling into the final as you would before the first midterm. These are video views on my social page, my non-academic page.
On the previous page, could you explain what the y-axis means?
So what I did was I created a 28-day window, 4 Mondays, 4 Tuesdays, 4 Wednesdays, 4 Thursdays. A moving window of how many views appear in that 28-day window. Every day YouTube will tell you, as one of the options, the views in the last 28 days. So I took the data every single day for the past 2 years, and I plotted the charts. So the Lewis model has 800 views in that 28-day window. The social graph shows you more of what I call a Facebook effect. I'm not a Facebooker, but if someone links to one of the things I have, and all of their friends watch it, it'll get a lot of views, and then it'll tail off and never come back. Because apparently with Facebook, once you get past that screen, that day, it's in the history, and therefore it never comes back. So you see, there are a couple of videos here that did not make it to Facebook, and they start out very low, and I'll show you a little bit more where they're going. None of these 4 videos made it to Facebook. So I'm glad to separate the Facebook effect to say, well, it is not that there's another platform driving the demand. Because apparently with Facebook, and I don't know, if you scroll over a video, it starts to play and it counts as a view. It's gaming of the system. So these don't get to be gamed, I guess.
Can you tell me what the different models are?
The Lewis model basically says that if you move people from rural to urban area, the country will grow faster. The Harrod-Domar model says you need capital to come into the country to help the country to grow. The Harris-Todaro model says that when you move people to the urban area, sometimes they don't get a job and they end up unemployed. And the ISLM model is a macroeconomics model that talks about monetary policy and fiscal policy.
Okay.
So they come at different places in the course. And since you asked, I was at a conference in London, and I had my camera with me, and I recorded 2 songs. One was called Boundless, and the other was some Hawaiian women dancing. The one that's called Worship was these Hawaiian women dancing. The topic, really, I want to talk about the academic stuff, but I thought it would give you some background to the other stuff. So table 1, and you should have the information in front of you. I'm showing here the 2 platforms, computer versus mobile, over the 2-year period, and the first row reads as follows. The Lewis model was viewed 81% of the time via a computer in 2016, 12-month period, and in 2017, 71% of the time was viewed via a computer. What I want to say is that you can see in this table that views by computer are declining. Now, 2 data points don't make a trend, but 2 different years, and the mobile phone is increasing in popularity. Mobile devices are expected to increase in popularity. And one of the things I want to talk about is as the younger generation, the millennials, I guess, move towards viewing stuff on their phones and their tablets, presenters, content creators have to think about how you design it so that it works well on a small screen. The other thing is that it's hard to study academic topics on a small screen. So we're hoping that if it's academic, people will stay using a bigger screen, like a computer, rather than moving to a small screen. But for these 4 videos, you can see that mobile is now on 1/4 of the views. It's increasing over time, and the forecast is that the millennials will move to mobile devices more and more, and therefore views by computer will not be a high number. Although, for learning purposes, I would choose to recommend that a student use a computer rather than a mobile device. The next table shows you viewing times. How long the average person spends viewing one of these videos. And I'll fast forward to show you that the lowest model is 16 minutes long, the Harris-Domar model is 4 minutes long, the Harris-Tadaro model is 7 minutes long, and the ISLM model is 17 minutes long. So let's go back and see that even though these products are longer products, except for the Harris-Domar model, the average viewing time is about 2 minutes. If I look at overall, YouTube will tell me your average video is being viewed for 2 minutes. This makes me think that what I need to do is think about how to say it quickly. But how do you teach a serious academic topic in 2 minutes? Cliff Notes version, you hit the high points, but what do you say to the viewer? Please come back or link to this other video where I'll give you more details. That's one of my implications for content creators. That you think about what you're going to say first, because the average viewer will not stay more than 2 minutes. You have to hit the high notes, and maybe you need to think very creatively, put a table of contents or something, and YouTube allows you to do that, so that they will actually get the main points quicker. One of the things I want to say before we move on is if you look over the 2-year period, the viewing times are decreasing. So there's a tendency to not stay as long at affairs. So more and more, you gotta stand up, speak up, and shut up. Many people will click on the video, and within 10 seconds, they'll gravitate away from it. One of the things I've noticed, I recently got a smartphone, is that sometimes you can accidentally click on something that you didn't intend to click on because your finger is touching it. Whereas with a computer, if you're using a mouse or something, you intentionally click on it. So there's more accidental clicking with a mobile device than with a computer. I actually saw that since I got my smartphone. I've disliked some of my videos. Thumb accidentally hits the dislike button, and I say, man, this is terrible. You're disliking your own content. So I'm saying that likes and dislikes can happen unintentionally when you use these devices. But one of the reasons I wanted to delineate between computer and mobile, because if people stay shorter on a mobile phone than on a computer, you want to be able to determine within the product category, the platform of mobile devices, is the viewing time decreasing? Within the category of computers, is the viewing time decreasing? So that's what this table is showing. It's showing you that the viewing time is decreasing for all of the products across the 2 years, across devices. So here's my view of the lowest model alone. And what I did is I broke out the data. YouTube is very generous. If you are a content creator, they will give you more data than you can analyze. So I know every single country. If you click on one of my videos, a green bar shows up on my data page, telling me someone using an iPhone just clicked on the lowest model. So the world is all of the data. And then I broke out the data by regions of the world because Asia is my most popular audience. I get more views from Asia than from anywhere else. And it kind of makes sense. You're talking about third world economies and how to develop these economies. Why would Asia be interested? So you get an idea of what the data look like. Let me hit the high note here. So you see everywhere it's bleeding. The European data, you see an increase for mobile phone. The number of mobile views is small, so there's no statistical reliability there. But the general pattern is that over time, people are viewing for shorter periods across devices. You see the last row of views, the views are increasing. So that's also interesting to me. The old content from 4 years ago is getting more and more views every year. I would think that newer products are coming along, but if you get there first and YouTube's algorithm puts yours at the top, when people do a search, you will get more hits. So the #1 video will move away from the others if people are lazy. But there are other devices, other metrics that people would use. They would look and see which one is long. So an 18-minute video will not get watched the way a 2-minute video would get watched. As students are thinking, okay, can you give me the Cliff Notes version? Therefore, one of the things I have to think about is how do I present, as I said, shorter videos and hope that they rise, because you might have 40 different videos on the same topic. Some of them have 25,000 views, others have 20 views. The effort to make the video is probably the same. So you have to think very tactically about how you're going to make this product if you want it to move to the top. And a lot of stuff that gets made doesn't get viewed. Okay, so you see the lowest model, and hopefully because you have the data in front of you, you can get a sense as to what is going on. So here's the second model, the Harrod-Domar model. Again, you see red, suggesting that there's declining viewing times. And the Harrod-Domar model. The data are pretty much saying the same thing. Yeah, I think there's a consistent story here. In one case, you saw, I used purple. Purple is my favorite color. I used that to show positive. And you see in North America, there's increased viewing times on this particular product. I'm not sure why that is the case, but that's what the data look like. But you do see that, again, the increasing shift toward mobile devices, and other products beyond these two have not yet made it big into the market. I guess they'll make space for those in the future, so you'd expect to see tablets showing up at a larger percentage. Between these two devices, it's 95% of the market, the viewing market. So you expect the other products to come along. So this is a summary. What I did was I took the two non-academic products that I showed you, and I added them with the two top products that were academic. So the Worship and Boundless were my London conference, and the other two were the first two videos I put on YouTube in my development economics class. What I see is that there's a higher tendency for non-academic stuff to be viewed via mobile devices. So if you look at right here, 50%, half of the views on this particular video are by mobile phone, whereas in the academic realm, it's less than a quarter. I thought about that. A friend of mine liked a video that I made last Sunday. She said, yeah, I was on the train going home, so I decided to watch it, and I liked it. I knew that someone using an Android device had liked the video at 5:45 p.m. The point I'm making is that social content is more likely to be viewed when you're relaxing or on a long train ride, whereas academic content will not be viewed on a long train ride at 5 p.m. I have more data than I know how to analyze, but I think you see a sense of what's going on there. And I just decided to include device data for the other two London videos in my presentation here. So I told you at the beginning what I intended to do. At the end, I'm telling you what I did, and it's pretty much the same story. So I say viewing times reveal that there are declines in viewing times over the 2-year period and a relative shift toward mobile phone viewing. I make a third comment here. Generally shorter viewing times on mobile phones than on other devices. If you're going to look at stuff on a mobile phone, you're not going to watch it as long. There are many complications there. The size of the screen, the time of day, the Wi-Fi access. There are many factors that will determine why you might lose connectivity or move away from a video. You're not really trying to sit down to study. You're thinking, let me look and see what's available and make a note to self. When I get home, I'm going to pull up my laptop or my desktop and watch this video. I found something I like. It's like you're shopping online, and then you go to the store and you're browsing online. Sorry, then you go to the store and touch and feel the product. I just made that up, by the way. Isn't that great? I also like the fact that across the world, I'm seeing the same thing. With a few exceptions, but across the world, I'm seeing the same patterns.
Do you have any idea of those people who are viewing your videos, how many are actually students in academic programs or other folks who are just interested?
YouTube gives me gender and age demographics. So if you have used a device that somehow knows your age, and I think with big data, they're pulling all of the information together, everything they have about you, and creating a profile of you. So there's some videos, for example, the worship video is predominantly viewed by young girls in the Californias or the Hawaiian areas or the Polynesian Islands or New Zealand. I can tell you that. So I do have some demographic data. For the academic content, I can't imagine my grandmother caring about the Harrod-Domar model. But I can see that the age profile is the age demographic, that's college. And most of my academic stuff is viewed by males. 2/3 of the views are males. And I understand that economics is still pretty much seen as a male-oriented field. But the dancing videos, almost all of the views are by females.
Do you know what search terms will bring up each of your videos?
So I've done an analysis, and I know the top 10 search strings that people type in. In fact, after I discovered that 3 years ago, I changed the title of the first video to reflect the most popular search term, in the hope that that would drive more traffic. It didn't do anything. But yes, there's so much data. There's more data than I can deal with. But I'm glad that it's there, and I hope that it doesn't die, and I can actually write a paper and produce something.